Is that deja vu? Nope, it's WandaVision. The most recent episode brought us all the reruns of Wanda's past, finally explaining why WandaVision paid tribute to so many sitcoms. How many sitcoms did the show reference? Which episode is connected to Olsen's personal past? Let's check out the greatest reruns hits.
Bravo!
To say Wanda faced difficulties growing up is an understatement. Episode 8 highlighted the traumatic events of her life over the years, and in the midst of her world falling apart, sitcoms were what brought her comfort every time. From losing her parents to being stuck in a containment cell to losing Pietro, sitcoms were the one constant. When the grief became too much, her powers took over and she brought herself right back to the greatest comfort she always knew.
Yes.
Episode 7 brought us into the modern era with references to two of the most popular and uniquely shot TV shows of this time, Modern Family and The Office. Look at this opening. Does the jingle sound familiar? It should, since it's the same one used for The Office opening credits, with slight alterations. The Wanda mug is also a direct nod to the world's greatest boss mug that belongs to Michael Scott. Then, of course, that title card. A perfect reflection of the Modern Family opening title card. Wanda gives off major Claire Dunphy vibes with her direct addresses and confessional-style scenes. They absolutely look like they could be in Modern Family. Not only are they shot in the same way, but even the manner of speaking is reflected. Who doesn't love a good side-eye? Thankfully, WandaVision brought this popular trope from The Office and used it to bring some great moments to life in the episode. Agnes slayed that sassy side glance. The closing credits in this episode are a clear nod to the simple and clean aesthetic of the credits of Modern Family, with similar fonts and colors. While this episode reflected the TV shows of this era, Agatha was the cause for a small throwback to a few decades earlier with her theme song. Agatha's new theme is just like the one from the 60s American sitcom called The Munsters. It was catchy then, and Agatha has made it catchy for us now.
Oh, you don't have to worry about your mom.
Any 90s fans will recognize the self-videotaping style opening of Malcolm in the Middle that's used for the opening credits of this WandaVision episode. Everything from the image quality to the tone of the song to the fonts used are spot on. A welcome dose of nostalgia and fun way to kick off the episode. One of the best parts of Malcolm in the Middle was getting the chance to see Frankie Muniz and the other kids break the fourth wall and directly address the camera with their hilarious remarks. It was so fantastic to see that tradition carried on for Wanda's boys, Billy and Tommy. We can only imagine how much fun these two had performing these scenes for WandaVision. Later in the episode, the neighborhood that Wanda and her family go trick-or-treating in looks mysteriously familiar. It must be because it's just like the main neighborhood, Stars Hollow, from the show Gilmore Girls. The show was clever in making sure that even the camera angles and shots they used were reminiscent of the TV shows of the era.
Halloween's about candy and scaring people, but mostly candy.
A bit of Elizabeth Olsen's past made a special appearance in WandaVision, the classic sitcom that made the Olsen's older twin sisters famous, Full House. Olsen actually made a cameo herself in the series finale of that show. The opening credits are just like that of Full House. Notice the photos of each character aging up? It's a charming intro and nod to the classic sitcom. Of course, at the end, we have the very memorable running in the park sequence, which any Full House fan will know is a direct homage to the fun and extensive opening credits. Fast forward a bit to the way the episode starts, with the focus on the exterior of the house and then moving in. Look familiar? That's because it is. It's just like they used to frame and begin many episodes of Full House and a lot of other popular sitcoms of the era. It's also pretty hard to ignore how similar the costumes are between the two shows. Wanda looks like she was plucked right off of the set of Full House, which, in a way, she was, only many years later. Another familiar image is the living room set, which recreated the living room from the show Family Ties very impressively. While they aren't exactly the same, it's totally believable that these rooms would be in the same house. So much deja vu.
And maybe you don't have to either.
WandaVision and the Brady Bunch, now both in color. Just look at how well those fonts match, right down to the rainbow-colored in-color section. Marvel also gives a clever nod in this opening to the tile-style image of the Brady Bunch opening. One Easter egg included in the episode is a pretty special one. The doll that Vision has is exactly the same one that little Cindy of the Brady Bunch has. It's unmistakable. That is definitely a kitty carry-all. Not only was the doll on the show, but it was a very popular toy of the era. When it came to settings, WandaVision nailed replicating the staircase seen in the Brady Bunch house.
Who knows what will happen when the real thing starts?
This episode brought all kinds of familiar magic to screen. One of the most obvious nods to old sitcoms was the animated opening with a cartoon Wanda and Vision soaring through the air, just like these opening animated credits from Bewitched. Not to mention this perfectly imitated title card. As far as imitation goes, let's have a look at this perfect kiss. Looks eerily similar to this smooch from I Dream of Jeannie. For those who may have been curious as to why Vision and Wanda wake up in separate beds at the beginning of the episode, the answer is this. The creators not only highlighted and referenced familiar scenes and images from the classics, but were authentic to the time period that they took place. The separate beds was traditional practice for the 50s era, and the opening scene is a small nod to that. Then there was that moment that Vision and everything around him turned to color, an acknowledgement of how the technology developed and many of the beloved shows that were once in black and white shifted to being broadcast in color.
Exactly as you are.
The visual similarities between episode 1 and the classic I Love Lucy are uncanny. Two of the obvious connections are the aspect ratio and black and white images. WandaVision dives much further than that though. Check out these opening credits for example. Font look familiar? They've got that one spot on. Not only that, but the closing credits, before we come out of the TV, also match the font of I Love Lucy. While the wedding dress Wanda wears may not be exactly the same as the one Lucy wears, it's definitely a close match, especially the veil and hair updo. There were a few hints as to what was to come with the magical elements of Wanda in the kitchen. It's hard not to see the similarities between WandaVision and I Dream of Jeannie. After seeing this, it's obvious both Wanda and Jeannie are the ones in charge. The episode also paid homage to the set of the Dick Van Dyke Show. Notice how their living rooms look almost exactly the same? This was definitely paid attention to with great detail and care. The similar brick backdrop and fireplace are no coincidence. Audiences were given a bit of a bonus homage to TV history with the appearance of Deborah Jo Rupp in some WandaVision episodes. Rupp rose to fame in the sitcom That 70s Show. Her appearance in the series is pretty appropriate considering she was a star in a show that took place in an earlier era from when it was being shot. We're sure she had some helpful hints for Elizabeth Olsen to help her nail that performance.
My head is starting to feel woozy.
Learning the reason for the sitcom format that the show took on has made us appreciate what Marvel has done with WandaVision so much more. All of the sitcom throwbacks were entertaining, but knowing what they meant to Wanda brings us a whole new appreciation. Is that déjà vu? Yes. Yes, it is. It's WandaVision.